Welcome back to my channel, YouTube. Listen, we're gonna jump right in. I don't wanna waste your time, but if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? This series is all about the basic fundamentals of becoming a chef. So today, what I wanna do is I wanna go over some small machines that are used in a home and a professional kitchen and just give you my point of view. We'll keep it short and simple. I'm gonna give you my advice as a chef, and listen, you should do the same thing at home. It's very important. There's some basic safety guidelines because all these machines that I'm gonna show you today, they can be dangerous. So it's really important you know the proper way to use it. I am teaching from the Professional Chef, the 9th edition. I will leave a PDF down below, so make sure you download it, or you can buy the book. I highly recommend buying the book and following along. Let's get right into it. When working with large equipment, safety precautions must be observed and proper maintenance and cleaning done consistently. Now, I will admit I see this done in the professional kitchen where people use the machine and they use it incorrectly. So I'm gonna give you 6 tips that come directly out of the Professional Chef that I couldn't agree with more. Obtain proper instructions in the machine's safe operation. Super important. If you do not know how to use the machine, please, for the love of God, ask, because I'm telling you, I've seen so many machines destroyed just from carelessness. Turn off the machine, then unplug before you decide to disassemble or clean, okay? This is very important. Do not leave the machine plugged in when you're about to clean it. Trust me on this. I've seen way too many accidents, okay?
Use all safety features. Be sure that the lids are secure, hand guards are used, and the machine is stable. It's so important. I know in a busy kitchen, it's easy to rush around, and I'm telling you, using a blender without the top, using the RoboCoupe without the top or without the safety on, it's just an accident waiting to happen. So be sure that you're using the machine with all of the safety features, okay? Especially with the automatic slicer. That's another topic, but it's very important.
Next, make sure after you use the machine, you clean and sanitize it. Now, does that mean put it in the dishwasher? No. What I recommend is once a week is a deep clean on the small equipment, but as the cook, all I'm asking you to do is a sanitizer towel and wipe it down, wipe all the food particles off, okay? To scrub and clean it every time is really inefficient. If you're at home, just take a regular towel and wipe it, because you're the only one that uses it. It doesn't really matter. This is referring to a professional kitchen. Make sure all the pieces of equipment are properly reassembled and left unplugged after each use, okay? I can't tell you how many times I go in a professional kitchen, I go to grab the RoboCoupe and the blade is missing and now I gotta go look for it. Report any problems or malfunctions properly and alert coworkers to the problem. So I can't tell you how much working in a professional kitchen where the blender cracks, and instead of reporting it to the manager, what they do is they just leave it, right? So the blender will be compromised and then somebody goes and grabs it and they go to use it and it explodes. What's really important is if something happens with the machine, make sure you report it to your leader and then inform your coworkers. That's it.
So we're gonna start off, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna read directly from the book. I'm on page 68, and we're just going over all of these small machines here. So let's get started with the most important one, and that is the blender. The blender consists of a base that houses the motor and a removable lidded jar with a propeller-like blade in its bottom. Speed settings for the motor are in base. Jars made of stainless steel, plastic, or glass, and it's also available in several capacities. So basically, the blender is a use-all machine, right? Excellent for pureeing, liquefying, and emulsifying foods. This is probably the piece of equipment that you use in a professional kitchen the absolute most to make purees, vinaigrettes, anything, you name it. And what's really, really important is you have a good quality blender. Now, I choose to use Vitamix. I use Vitamix. I've used it for years, but Vitamix is like the creme de la creme in my eyes. Now, I'll be honest, nowadays there are some competitive ones. I would say Breville, Ninja. There's some competitive blenders out there, but top dog, honestly, is Vitamix. You make the choice on what you want to do, but I've had my Vitamix, actually this specific Vitamix, for over 6 years now, and all I have to do is replace the top. You know, the top with the bearing is pretty much, it's like $100 once a year, and you just replace the whole top. Okay, next is the food processor. Food processor is really easy to use. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this. Most homes have them, but in a professional kitchen, we use this thing very often as well. High volume of prep and a whole bunch of things. So look, Basically, it works like this. Motor housed in base, separately from the removable bowl, blade, and lid. It may have extra discs for specialized cutting. So primarily, the common uses are used for grinding, pureeing, blending, emulsifying, crushing, and kneading, with special discs for slicing, julienning, and shredding. Okay, next I want to get into the immersion blender, or also known as a hand blender, stick blender, or burr mixer. It's a long, slender, one-piece machine like an inverted blender. The top houses a motor which generally runs at 1 speed. Plastic handle with on-off switch extends from the top of the housing. Usually they come in stainless steel drive shaft that extends from the motor and ends with the blade, which is immersed in the food. This is also commonly used in restaurants. It's for pureeing, liquefying, and emulsifying large batches of food directly in the cooking vessel. And I really like having this like on a station, right? It's really good if you're making a small sauce or a small amount of something. We used it a lot in the early 2000s for foams, but I'm telling you, this is a great tool to have. Okay, so last but not least, the KitchenAid stand mixer. Now, these are primarily mostly in pastry, but I think what's really important is it's important to know that how it works and what it does. So basically, this electric machine has a large detachable bowl of varying capacities, 5 quart, 10 quart, 20 quart, 40 quart, etc. The attachments are the whip, the paddle, the dough hook, and the bowl is locked into place and attachment rotates through the batter or dough. Now, I personally use KitchenAid and I think this is the top dog. Now, I gotta be honest, over the last couple of years, they've started to make them a little bit cheaper, but ultimately, I still use KitchenAid. This one is really good. I've had it for years, and it's honestly a privilege to own one. So if you ever get one for Christmas or your birthday, make sure you take care of it. The thing I love about KitchenAid is they come with so many different attachments, right? You not only have your paddle, your hook, and your whip, you also can get a grinder or a pasta machine, like that can attach to the front. And what's really unique about this is, these attachments are not really that expensive. So a good example is this meat grinder is about 20 bucks, right? I think it's like 30 or 40 now, but when I bought it, it was $20. I got it secondhand used, and it's so clutch, especially if I'm grinding small amounts. But I will be honest, in the professional kitchen, we primarily use an industrial style grinder, but for your home, you could definitely get away with the small one, but you can attach anything to the front here. There's so many different attachments, but if you want, I will do a separate video on this because I think it deserves a video in itself. So let me know in the comments if you want me to do a full video on the KitchenAid. If not, we're gonna move right on to the next thing and we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna go over very quickly some other bigger equipment in the kitchen that you need to know about. Here we go, some larger equipment. Kettles and steamers. Kettles and steamers enable a chef to prepare large amounts of food efficiency. Since the heat is applied over a much larger area than is possible with a single burner is used, cooking times are often shorter than when using a stovetop. So basically what this is a tilt skillet, okay? And this is for large operations. Restaurants that do 200 covers and above, banquet, catering have tilt skillets or large steam kettles. So let's talk about ranges and ovens. The stovetop is known as the range. The oven is usually below the range. However, there are a number of variations in the standard arrangement. Gas or electric ranges are also available in many sizes with different combinations of open burners. Flat tops, not to be confused with griddle units, and ring tops. Open burners and ring tops supply direct heat, which is easy to change and control. Flat tops provide indirect heat, which is more even and less intense than direct heat. Foods that require long, slow cooking, such as stocks, are more effectively cooked on a flat top. Small units known as candy stoves or stockpot ranges have rings of gas jets or removable rings under a flat top, allowing for excellent heat control. Ovens cook foods by surrounding them with hot air, a gentler and more even source of heat than direct heat from a burner. Next, we're gonna go to griddles and grills. Two other range oven features, the griddle and the grill, are a part of the traditional commercial food service setup. A griddle is similar to a flat top range. A griddle has a heat source located beneath the thick plate of metal, generally cast iron or steel. The food is cooked directly on the griddle surface. Now, when we get into grill, broiler, salamander, in a grill, the heat source is located below a rack. In a broiler or salamander, the heat source is above the rack. Some units have adjustable racks that allow the food to be raised or lowered to control cooking speed. Some grills burn wood, charcoal, or both, but units in restaurants are often either gas or electric fired, with ceramic rocks that create a bed of coals to produce the effect of charcoal grill. Broilers radiate an intense heat from above and can be found as a setting in a gas or electric oven. If the broiler is contained as a separate unit, it is known as a salamander and is primarily used to finish or glaze foods. Okay, so I know that can be kind of confusing, but in all honesty, I just wanted to go over that so you have a general idea of what these big, large equipment items are. Now, I know to some people this might be common, but some people don't know, and this is very true. Listen, I've worked in a restaurant where I was a chef and the guy didn't know what the difference between the flat top and the stove was, right? And it's just like, you know, this is important for me to tell you. So like, if I cook something later on down the road, I can link this video so you know exactly what to look for or what I'm talking about. The last thing I want to touch on real quick is refrigeration. When talking about refrigeration, I think what's really important is there's a big difference between the home refrigerator and the professional refrigerator. But let me give you a summary snapshot. Refrigeration equipment. Maintaining adequate refrigerated storage is crucial to any food service operation. Therefore, the menu and the storage must be evaluated and coordinated. All units should be maintained properly, which means regular and thorough cleaning. There are a few refrigerators that I'm referring to, and we're gonna separate the home refrigerator from the professional kitchen. Your home refrigerator is built to just set it and forget it, okay? But it's not as strong as a commercial refrigerator. So let's break this down. A walk-in refrigerator, you can walk totally inside. This is in most restaurants. Walk-in, this is the largest style of refrigeration unit, and it usually has shelves arranged around the walls. It is possible to zone a walk-in to maintain appropriate temperature and humidity levels for storing various foods. Some walk-ins are large enough to accommodate rolling carts for additional storage. Some have pass-through or reach-in doors to facilitate access to frequently required items. Walk-ins may be situated in the kitchen or outside the facility. Reach-in. A reach-in may be a single unit or part of a bank of units. Available in many sizes, units with pass-through doors are especially helpful for the pantry area, where cold items can be retrieved by the wait staff as needed. On-site refrigeration. Refrigerator drawers or under-counter reach-ins allow ingredients to be held on the line at a proper temperature. Portable refrigeration. A refrigerated cart can be placed as needed in the kitchen. Display refrigeration. Display cases are generally used in a dining room for desserts, salads, or salad bars. These are also what you see in, deli shops, fast food service. You see a display window. But I think what's really important is you just need to know the difference between the couple, right? The biggest difference between the home refrigerator and the commercial refrigerator. Huge difference. Now, I will argue that if your home refrigerator, you need to put a thermometer in there. Make sure it's at the proper temperature, 41 and below. A lot of people get rotten food really fast because their refrigerator is at 55 degrees. Also, do not overcrowd your refrigerator at home, okay? This is my personal opinion. This is not from the textbook. I see a lot of people jam-pack their fridge. You need to have enough air circulation in there. And if you're covering the fan or if you're covering where the cool air comes from, you're gonna run into some issues. And also, do not put boiling hot or piping hot items in your fridge. It is not strong enough to be able to cool that down properly. Now, if you have a little deli cup of something hot, it's not gonna kill it. But I'm referring to people that cook something in the crock pot and then decide to put that in the fridge. It's gonna completely crush your refrigerator and bring the temperature up too high, and it's gonna be very hard to recoup. The way I recommend to cool things like that down is let them cool down to room temperature. It takes about 2 hours, but trust me, you have 4 to 6 hours to get it down to the proper temperature, so don't worry, you won't die. And that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. We are going to go straight into food, meat, poultry identification. I'm so excited because then after that, we're gonna start cooking. So make sure you follow along, hit that subscribe button, and share this video with somebody that needs to see it, okay? This is value I'm giving for free. I am your professor, okay? Chef Authorized the Professor, that's what I should call this. But if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I would love to go back and forth, giving the community of young chefs and cooks what they deserve for the next generation. It's my job to coach and teach, so I'm here for it. Leave all your questions in the comments and I'll see you next episode.